Oh, hello, hello. I wasn't even ready. That was sudden. Good afternoon, good evening. It is Friday.
Woo!
Guess what? I am extra excited for two reasons. One, it's Friday, and I get to see my beloved colleagues, my team members, my brothers, my work family on a Friday, which is really exciting. Nothing better than that. And the second thing is I get to share with you guys something amazing, a new topic, right? This Friday is special because the long weekend's around. Hopefully, your vaccinations are in line with your dogs and you can go out for a picnic. I hope everyone's doing safe, is being safe. Everyone's had a decent week. We're almost out. We'll be able to be out and about and see friends and family in person. So I'm really, really excited. This is a special Friday, the long weekend Friday, Ray of Hope Friday, if you will. So guys, tonight's topic, Friday Night Live's topic, is going to be the art of deal making. I think Marc and Sean would agree with me. The problem is never the buyer or the deal or the property or anything. Whether you're buying a business, whether you're buying real estate, there is an art to do this. You cannot enter a transaction where you want to have it all and think the other person's a sucker. That just creates friction and you waste time. You don't get anything out of it, right? Tonight, we want to talk about the art of deal making specific to real estate and understanding how we can get the most out of the art of dealing and be able to take advantage of market conditions and be in line, be in synergy, be in sync with market conditions, okay? Life gets really, really hard when you try and swim upstream. And some motivational guys say, yeah, go do it. I think you're an idiot. Get off on the bank and start walking. If you need to go upstream, there's no point swimming upstream. Flow with the stream, life will flow. So tonight we're going to talk about the art of deal making. I'm going to have Sean, Marc jump in, talk to you about a few stories, few scenarios, few case studies that we could discuss tonight. Now, before I get into the topic, as usual, I got to ask my lovely fellow host, Sean, beginning with you, mate. How's your week been?
Well, it's been chaotic. I can't complain. It's been beautiful. It's been chaotic. And for those of you who are waiting on me to get back to you, you know who you are. I'm coming. I'm not going anywhere. I have a lot of people to get back to this week, especially more so than ever before. And but it is purely in relation to the topic that you've crafted up for us tonight, Kesh, because it's actually all about the art of deal making, and hence people don't know behind the scenes some of the work that goes into it. So it is what it is.
It is. And on that point, I want our viewers to know. So, clients who you work with us, I want you to think of this industry, this business. It looks really nice. We're having a great laugh, and it looks great. This industry is like a fine dining restaurant. So you're out there in your nicest suit with your missus or your partner, candlelight, top drinks. Cheers, by the way. Cheers. I went fancy today.
Cheers, everyone.
I'm drinking aloe vera juice. What is that?
Aloe vera. Keep me hydrated.
Fancy water.
And in a restaurant, you'll have a polite waiter come up to you and say, "Good evening, sir. What can I get you? Today's specials are," right? But they never see behind the doors in the kitchen where chefs are burning themselves down. Shit's blowing up. It is crazy, right? This is where the market's at right now. And we are trying to be the captains of the ship, calm, and making sure we get a result for our clients in this crazy, crazy market, which is unexplainable. So tonight, hence, with that in mind, we want to discuss the art of dealing. But before I get there, we got to ask our friend Marc, how's your week been?
It has been cracker.
Beautiful.
Boys, I've got some trivia tonight, just a real quick one. I'm going to give you some front trivia.
Oh, yeah.
We're guaranteed two things in life. What are they?
Death and taxes.
Yes.
Boom. There we go.
We want to hear another question. Give us another one.
Every week there'll be new questions. But I'm going to test all of
us. I love it. Well done.
Let's do it. Let's do trivia, and then at the end we got our rapid rounds.
All right.
Yep. Done.
That's really good. Sean, were you going to ask something, or do we get into it?
And before you get into it, how was your beautiful week, champion?
Mate, I have had an incredible week. I've and the credit here goes to the lovely people I have come across. I must say, in this industry, you come across lots of people from all walks of life. Some you don't want to come across, but I can tell you this week, every person I've sat with has been just the most beautiful soul, has been the most incredible meetings. They have such amazing life stories, and they're so driven to be able to achieve what they want to, and that is all it takes. If you believe in your heart and you're driven, you will find a way to do it. So this week's been really great. From a team support, I'll give a shout out to Sean. Mate, Sean's looking crazy because, mate, Sean's doing so much stuff behind the scenes. And he's jumped in and helped me out with so many things in this whole crazy world, going above and beyond, talking at 9-10 o'clock at night. It's been incredible. So I feel blessed this week, actually. That's how I'm feeling ultra blessed this week that things are going well and things will continue to go well, because I don't care whether the half is half empty or full. As long as you drank the water, we're winning.
Nice.
So coming to the topic, producer Anna, can you share the market cycle? I want to introduce this topic to everyone, explain what the market cycle is, what it actually does. So let me see if I can make it bigger, smaller. I hope everyone can see that, and you can see my cursor. So I want you to understand this bit over here, the orange bit, is basically the top of the marketplace, right? That is the hot peak, as people like to call it. This over here is bottom of the marketplace. This over here is the trough or flat market, and here is a rising marketplace. Now, there's a deal to be made throughout the marketplace. The most ignorant thing you can ever hear someone say is, oh, I'll buy at the bottom and sell at the top. Mate, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or Jimmy Buffett. No one's predicting that stuff. No one is, right? I'll tell you what, there's some signs to tell you where you're sitting in the marketplace. So why does the market cycle go around? And to understand the two types of markets in Australia, the cyclical markets and independent markets, but I'm not going to go into that tonight. Tonight's about deal making and understanding what to do in every slice. I've divided this into 4 pizza slices for you to understand. Now, at the bottom of the market, in a cyclical market, there can be only 2 reasons to be at the bottom of the market, right? The first reason is there's more properties than purchases. So property developers, builders stop producing real estate because the sales guys can't sell anything. And they just go, mate, listen, we're going to go out there and start land banking because there's blood in the water. And we will just not build any more real estate till the real estate we own gets absorbed. Now, at this point, what starts to happen is slowly the real estate starts to get absorbed, and then you start to see a rising market. That used to be a normal property cycle. Now, property cycles cannot, very, very few cyclical markets. I think no cyclical market at the moment is oversupplied, specifically in the housing market. When you're talking about freestanding homes, there's a massive shortage because of COVID. So some of you are wondering, oh, why because of COVID? Well, mate, to develop a block of land, to connect it to do the earthworks, connect it to sewage, electricity, all of those sort of things, a water connection costs money and it costs trades. When there's been a massive blockage of people buying land and being able to lodge DAs and construct, there's a waiting list for people to come through. Then you marry that to low interest rates, you marry that to government grants, you have built a pressure cooker. You have literally built a pressure cooker. So the only time you will see Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane correct in the near future is when we reach the affordability median. Now, what does that mean? Let's say Marc and Sean are out in the marketplace looking to buy a property. And I say, hey, mate, you want to buy this house from me? You got to pay 1.3 million. Marc goes, no problem, I'll pay it. Sean goes, I'll go 1.45, no problem. If I suddenly, eventually, for the same property, start asking 1.8 or 1.9 million, Marc and Sean will literally turn around and say, mate, look, I don't want to tell you your business. This is your property. You can sell it however you want. But I literally cannot afford to pay any more than what I already have. So what will start to happen is sellers will have to meet the maximum budget that the buyers can afford to spend, and the market reaches an equilibrium. There's never a crash. Okay, so properties went from $500,000 to 1.1 million, riding the wave. And then from 1.1 million, they corrected to 980. From 980 now, the median house price in Sydney is about 1.3 million, and it will continue to go. So the first bottom will always be lower than the next bottom. Now, where people go wrong is this. On the right side of the quadrant, where the market's correcting, there's blood in the water. So you can get massive discounts, 10, 20%, a lot of vendor discounting, so on and so forth. You can crack a deal. But in every deal, you got to understand as a deal maker, there's a trade-off. On this side of the quadrant, when you get a 10 or 20% discount, the reason you're getting a discount is because you're trying to predict how far this property is going to correct into the future. So if you want $500,000 for this, maybe I'll buy it for 430 or 450 or 480 because I know it's going to correct to that point. Now, the problem on buying on this side of the quadrant in an average market cycle of 12 to 14 years, what happens is when you buy property here, the market sits flat for 6, 7, 8 years. And often you see people complain saying, oh, I bought a property, didn't really do anything, blah, 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 because they're amateurs. If you want to buy a property on a discount, the trade-off is you got to wait 6, 8, 10 years before you get to see an upside. Now, in a rising market or a hot market where clearance rates are 75, 85% and above, what happens is all the good real estate gets sold very, very quickly, and very little real estate comes on the market. On a weekly basis, you start to see prices move up. So you got to be very careful in this marketplace where you got to act quickly. You got to buy for position, and you shouldn't be taking the off cuts. And I'll get Sean to jump in and talk about that a little bit. So what happens is where the problem arises, where people don't end up making money, is when the market's over here, they're looking for discounts. And when the market's over here, they're looking for a boom. That's not going to work. There's a place to ask for a discount, and there's a place to act quickly. Now, the advantage on being on the left side of the quadrant, in a 12-year market cycle, 8 years of the market just sits here in this yellow to green, where the market's sort of flat. And this bottom to hot is usually between an 18 months to 36 months journey, where you suddenly see $600,000 property selling for $900,000, $900,000 property selling for $1.5 million. So if you're an investor who's trying to make deals, the art of deal making is to get in line with the marketplace. And today, if you're trying to get into the marketplace and you're not being able to, that is okay. If you're going to find something that is a little bit off registration, and if you understand the dynamics, that is okay. Because I don't want a weird block that I can't build on. I'd rather wait for the right block that I can build on. And the best part, I don't have to pay anything, any interest to hold that real estate. Okay, everywhere in every suburb does that work? No, it doesn't. And I completely agree. But if you understand what you're doing, you're working with a team, you understand the macroeconomic factors, the microeconomic factors, the behavioral nudges, we can see this happen. We can see this happen. Now, producer Anna, if you can take this away, and I'm going to take my conversation to Sean and talk about deal making. So Sean, tell us a little bit on the ground. You're there sitting with the acquisition team. You're there helping our clients. Tell me where people are going wrong in deal making in this sort of marketplace, and what they should be looking out for, how they should be thinking from a psychological perspective, and how should they be approaching real estate really at this point?
So real estate, first of all, always depends on, unless you're a specific type of investor, which is a more advanced level developer or a higher level investor where you've got a bit more of a risk appetite, your approach should always be at least a 3 to 5 year horizon. And if you've got a 3 to 5 year horizon and you're looking at saying, okay, the last 18 months has been good. Should I wait for the next crash or should I be getting in? Well, history and data always points to saying that real estate, no matter how long the boom phase goes for, or how long the correction phase goes for, where the amateur investor, where the mum and dad investor goes wrong, is they focus too much on current events. So when you're looking at current events, for example, today Gladys resigned, right? Now,
love you, Gladys. I'm gonna miss you, Gladys.
And for example, this becomes now a current event. So current events like, okay, wait, so what's going to happen? Is there something going on? Macro-prudential lending changes. Oh wow, does this mean that property is going to crash now because there's a lending environment that's different? And people go, oh, Evergrande, what about the banking collapse? That's going to kill everything. Now, here's the reality of the situation. even if there is a storm, it doesn't last all week, right? It doesn't last all fortnight. Definitely doesn't last all year. We're going through a massive hailstorm right now. That's not going to last till probably Monday and our long weekends here. So the idea is most people get their time horizon really wrong. And the art of deal making, or the art of proper deal making for an amateur investor or someone who's getting their first 2, 3, 4 properties under their belt, should always be, what is my projection over the next 4 years? What's the most conservative approach? And can I afford if there is a storm to come? Can I afford moments in time where there's, let's say, not the best rental cash flow or not the best, market upswing on growth? People get it wrong all the time because growth is something that you can't control. So why bother making your decisions based on that? If it's just been, a buoyant market for the last 40, 50, 100 years, which it has been, that's where your decision making should come in. So when you're looking at crafting a specific deal, where families go wrong is, it's like you mentioned, it's in a dropping market expecting a boom because they got a discount. And in a rising market, there could be something as small as a valuation, for example. So banked valuations are something that are generally meant to be conservative all the time. And in a growing market, if you get, for example, a valuation that's not as favorable, people get it twisted where they go, wait a second, that means this property is not worth that much. But in a marketplace like this, from real on-the-ground experience, I've seen one friend of mine actually, and a couple of clients have an idea about valuations, thinking that, well, wait a second, it might be a situation where if I just wait until I can find a property that matches the bank valuation, then I'll be getting a good deal. That's not the ideal deal making, because they're lost touch of what's going on in the actual reality of the markets. Because if you look at the market right now, if you signed a deal 3 months ago and you're about to settle, or if you signed a deal 6 months ago and you're about to settle, if it was ticking a few basic metrics on things like good affordability, population growth, so forth, so on, you've actually made a bit of money. So the idea is actually understanding what not today's market's going to be paying for it, but what the market in 3, 4, 5 years is going to be paying for it when things go back to equilibrium, which they always do.
May I just add something here? Producer Anna, can you just share my screen again? I want to show people something to give them context. And while I go through this, and this is just to add on what you've just said, let's see if that wants to come up. But while it does come up and they try and share the screen, what is super important for us is I'll tell you a story here, Sean. Okay, and this is a personal story. I'm not going to name this up, in a very inner city suburb of Melbourne. Okay, there was a purchase made by me personally for a ultra luxurious apartment. I'll even say the suburb was Collingwood, right? And at the time, the valuation came almost $75,000 under, right? Today, I chipped in the cash from my back pocket, okay? Today, even though apartments don't go up, blah, blah, blah. And the argument here is not about apartments or houses, it's a valuation issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because whoever, the professional, let's just leave it at that. Oh my God. I'm going to do a whole video on that. The professional who went through was obviously looking at, it's like if a guy looks at Barangaroo and then looks at the housing commission units and says that's the only comparable. So it just doesn't make sense. And this building is very, very rooftop pool, Tesla car chargers, gym, pink salt, Himalayan salt, spas. So the idea behind the strategy was to attract downsizers and have that sort of marketplace. Today, I can officially tell you that property is over $350,000 in less than 4 years in the unit market,
which is outstanding for a unit market.
So why did I go in? Why did I put that 75K down? Why did I do all of this? I believed in that. And I knew that the biggest challenge when you go and do something different that's not out there, there's always this issue. And the idea for a valuer in this marketplace, it is, look, I can sit here and whinge and complain and whatever it might be. But if you look at it from their perspective, like say Box Hill or Marsden Park, or mate, he had nothing to compare it by. So when you go and look at the Marsden Parks, people who bought in Marsden Park 6, 7, 8 years ago, and they must have paid X amount of dollars for a package, the only comparable properties would have been the older parts of Blacktown. When people bought in the ponds, or when people bought in other pockets where there were new master plans, or Box Hill even for that matter, it's just so that what has happened is a lot of purchasers today haven't been around long enough or haven't owned property long enough to really know what the cycle is like. And these sort of things throw you off. Now, no way am I recommending go and buy properties below valuation, any of that. But you got to understand valuation is the cherry on top of your cake. That is it. It's not the cake. If your cake's recipe is right, the outcome will be okay. So I don't know, for some reason it's not popping up, but I've got a really, really good slide here where properties in Castle Hill and 45 years ago were selling for $6,500, and I'm pretty sure they would have had valuation issues. The valuer at the time could have not predicted that today properties in Castle Hill would be $2, $3, $4 million, right? And Sean, just doubling down on what you're saying, if you can't have a long-term vision, then you're a speculator, man. You're better off betting on horses or cricket or whatever. Exactly. Don't buy real estate. It's not for you. This is not your game. Because when you look at the larger scheme of things, you're betting on behavioral economics. Am I buying a property today that a 15-year-old today, when they're 30 or 32, would pay $1 million or $2 million more than I did? And why would they pay that $1 million or $2 million? What would be the next 35-year-old? What industry would be growing? Who would have higher incomes? And what do high income people get attracted to? So that gentrification conversation, right? So in the art of deal making in this market right now, personally in my situation, I can only speak for myself. I'm someone who is aggressively buying as much as I can. For me, the most important thing is position and proximity to profit, let me call it. There's some fundamentals that we teach our clients, and make these sort of things, whether the property is $5,000 off or $3,000 off. Mate, no one complains when your property's valuation comes. You like, mate, we know people who've held an off the plan house and land for like 2 years and got $200,000 above their purchase price. And
so in that market, so in that example, right there, can the seller then say, I need 200 grand more now? Pay me 200 grand more because your valuation's 200 grand higher?
No. And that's the game, right? Like, that's what developers do. Option contracts, put and call options. Like, it just gets there. So, and that's the problem. The problem is when you have an amateur mindset and you want professional outcomes, you're not going to get them. It's just not going to happen, right? You got to put in the reps. You got to understand where the market's at, what sort of deals you're making, and time is of the essence here. And if you look at any successful person in a deal, you got to create the best situation for yourself that saves you time. It's not about saving money. It's about saving you time and buying position. Am I willing to pay a premium? Would I pay, if Harvard University said to me, I would guarantee you a position for your kid, I need $150,000 today, done. Yeah, done. If Lend-Lease rang me up today and said $500,000 and I'll hold you a position in my next master plan estate as a co-lister or a co-developer, done. I don't even want to know where the master plan is. Lend-Lease, you know what I mean? And some guys living in Jordan Springs might be going, what do you mean by what? Bro, that's like 1% a night, like out of like so many deals. And those people got paid out again. So for me right now in the marketplace, and guys, jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm buying for position and opportunity that I know for a fact that in Sydney, I can't do that positioning anymore. But say in places like Melbourne, places like Brisbane, places even like Perth today, there's some mad opportunities that are opening up for people who want to have that gold, that check opportunity, either a cash flow play or a capital growth play. Now, Mark, coming to you, tell me a little bit. You had a beautiful case study for us. So tell me the art of deal making. What's the case study?
Yeah, look, it's it's someone I've dealt with this week actually. The old saying that we've been saying quite often is, you sit on the fence, you get splinters in your ass, and that's exactly what's happening there. And we were actually having a pretty in-depth conversation this afternoon, actually, and just saying, oh look, I haven't. Sorry, I'm just going to shut my window. It's a bit loud out. So what they were saying was, basically, we want to go ahead. We want to get the ball rolling. We don't know whether we buy a home, whether we invest into a property. We also want to park our money into another form of investment vehicle, which is fine. But still need some time to think. Still need some, see if it's the right way. And I said, look, we're having this conversation today. Today's Friday. We had our meeting or whenever it was on Tuesday, let's call it. All right. So there's 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is that have gone by. It's not going to make a difference to me, but it's going to make a difference to you. I said, because if you haven't seen even just this week alone, what's going on in the market for people that are thinking about getting into the market, for example, just using this week as an example, it's not going to be as easy as what it has been for the last 6 to 8 months this year, 12 months, 15 months, right? We have shot up so hard across the market here in Australia that APRA is stepping in and saying, we need to do something here because this wealth gap is going to blow out past a point where we can't be able to fix this. We'll never be able to fix this, right? You'll have way too many people in retirement that are surviving on the government pension. And I think we all know right now the government cannot support that for the next 20 years at the rate that we're going at. It's impossible, right? And if we do, it's by the form of just printing money, and we'll be in a form of hyperinflation later on down the track. Now, I had this conversation and we lasted about 10, 15 minutes on the phone. I said, look, realistically, I'm not concerned whatsoever about any form of to buy. But what I am concerned about is you making a start on at least understanding what your options are. Because you can't look at property without knowing what your game plan is. You can't do anything in life without knowing what your game plan is. Because I'm sure we've all done it before. We've all been young. We've all jumped, balls deep into things before and said, yeah, I'm going to give it a crack, and whatever happens, happens. And look, when you're young, you can get away with making mistakes. And, that's another thing I want to mention as well, is that so many people are afraid of making mistakes because, yes, in real estate or any form of investment, these are, I guess, to most people, or let's say mum and dad investors, mistakes that can cost you a decade, mistakes that can cost you your family, your wealth that you already had built up over the last 20 years. But I think if you, do your research, do your understanding, partner with people, whether it's us, someone else, who cares, right? But partner with someone who does this for a living or does whatever it is that you're interested in doing. Gain as much professional advice as you can to guide you through. Yes, you know that you're going to come to hurdles along your way. It's inevitable. We all do. And we're going to come across more and more and more as the next 100 years roll on, or however long we're going to be alive for together, right? These things are, when I was young, I used to think that when you had something lined up, that's it. It feels good. It's cracker. Bullshit. That's wrong. That's the wrong way of thinking. You've got to be diligent enough to know that you always got to be on your toes, not manifesting a problem, but knowing that if a problem does arise, you can handle it accordingly.
You rise to the occasion.
Right, exactly. And I guess on the back end of just this conversation this afternoon, I left the phone call just thinking to myself, what people don't understand is that they, in their own mind, they feel as though the world is stopping for them. Stopping for them. And I said, I don't care whether you come on board with us or not. It's up to you at the end of the day. And I said, let me tell you one thing. The market doesn't care for me, certainly doesn't care for you, not waiting for anyone. And if you think now is a time where you decide, is it going to cool down? Do I get in later on? That won't be your issue from an affordability point of view. Your new issue now is going to be prudent lending restrictions that are going to stop you from getting something that's affordable. So you're always going to be against your back will be against the wall every single time, every single year.
May I share something? And it might be a little controversial, but in these situations, this is how I assess things, right? When I bought my first investment, I had mates say to me, oh, this and that and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, mate, it's 75 of my money, 450 of the bank's. You know what I mean? And I said, if it really goes bad, I will earn $75,000 back in my life because I have the talent to do it 100 times over. Today, and this is not arrogance, you could take away everything I've got and I'd build it faster, quicker than I ever did before. What took me 11 years to do will take me 6 months now. I've got the lashes on my back. I know where stuff's screwed up. But I'll tell you something. Whenever I'm in situations like this, personally, like I've spent time with family and friends. Forget like the outside, like people like close to you saying, mate, just do this, right? And then I realized, I'm like, in the future, these are the people who are going to be my tenants. These are the people that I'm going to have highly experienced people who are working till 85 years old, and I'll have employees. Great. So for me, it's always a good story. And I go, if everyone really followed through, if everyone really did, we would be living in a very different world. And there's some people who do and some people who don't, and which is okay. It doesn't change my life or your life or anyone's life. Our job, I know we get really passionate about it, is because all of us on this screen today, on this Friday Night Live episode tonight, have seen good days with real estate and bad days with real estate in our own lives. Yet, when you look at the average, it's all been worth it. And it's a mindset thing. It's not. These are the same people who would give up on marriages. These are the same people who give up on their kids. These are the same people who give up on a job. Yeah, the boss was shit, and then the leads weren't good, or the culture. No. You are solely responsible for your successes and failures, my friend.
And just to say something as well, another conversation I had earlier today as well, with someone who questioned us and said, why would I go with you instead of someone else? And I said, you don't have to. Firstly, you can do whatever you want in life. But when you deal with someone, when you're taking some form of expert advice or guidance, make sure as a non-negotiable, and it should be the first, box to tick on your own personal due diligence of engaging with someone. Are they personally invested into what you're looking to invest into as well? Because if they're not, of course they're not there for your best interests. But if they are, well, I mean, for me, I see it as though, you're right, Kesh, we have all experienced good times and bad. We all own real estate. Now, that's, for me, enough to say I would invest with that person, because they're not going to put me into something that's going to go bananas over the next few years and then completely crash. They're going to put me into something because they want to keep doing business.
Forget that. All right, let me ask this person. I've got a few questions for this person, and we're going to role play this, right? And this lesson is not to bag people out. This lesson is a mindset lesson. This is a lesson that I used to be on the wrong side of the mindset, and switching to the right mindset has served me so well, and I just want to share with the world, right? First question to the person. Do you think when you walk into CPA or ANZ, the loan broker or the account manager gives a rat's? All they know is they're going to write you a $500,000 $1 million loan, and they're going to get a fat ass bonus, and they don't know what your investment goals are. You think if you're going to ring up a real estate agent who's local in a certain area, going to talk rubbish, saying, oh no, don't buy in Castle. I think it's too expensive. I think my vendor is crazy to ask so much money. Maybe wait 6 years. No. And if you rang up the local real estate agent and said, hey, I'm looking to sell my house, do you think it's a good time to sell? What do you think they're going to say? Of course it is, best time ever. You should sell. Hey, I've been in real estate. And again, I'm not bagging them out. That is, their interest is in transactions. Whether you purchase, whether you sell, whether the market's hot, whether it's not, doesn't matter to them, right? The bank's not in your best interest. The accountant's not in your best interest. The only person who has your best interest is you. Not me, not Mark, not Sean. Who do you align with? Who understands the idea of a synergy of finding and working with someone like us, or working with a team, whoever it is to find synergy in people who think alike, that you feel comfortable with, to share your vision, your story, and for someone experienced on the other end to tell you what's possible, what's not, and how to play it. As simple as that. And when people come and say, oh, but why should I go? I'm like, why are you sitting in front of me then? Why didn't you go somewhere? Like, mate, I got better things to do today. I have thousands of clients. We have thousands of clients. that we have worked with day and night that today are paying off their mortgage in 15 years instead of 30. Started with nothing, have 3 properties. Properties have outperformed their super any other investment method. And I love when people go, "Oh, I'd like to diversify in other things," and they've got savings of 100,000. Mate, like I'm not being classist here, buddy. You got $50 in your pocket. You're not going to Louis Vuitton. You're shopping at Lowe's.
Yeah.
Pick.
Yep.
And if you like shares and you wanted to diversify, why is it sitting in the savings account anywhere, mate? You should have come to me with 150 sitting in the share market saying, "I played this game, brother, and I need to diversify now." You've got $100,000 sitting in a losings account, and you're sitting and going, "But we would like to park it another." And you know what annoys me? They know for a fact that they can't. And they're just sitting there wasting the time. They got to understand our business is not a sales business. I don't care. What I care about is when someone comes to me, can I deliver them the outcome they desire? Can I give them the reality of the marketplace? Can I use our experiences, combined experiences together to give them a solution that will serve them, that will help them execute their own vision to the best of their ability?
Yeah.
That is all it is. It is not about someone's interest or why should he work with. Don't. All the best.
And speaking to diversification as well, yes, diversification is important, sure. But I think Andrew Carnegie also said, if you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, just make sure you look after that basket.
Mate, and that was really well said. And I always say this to people. What is your circle of competence, right? Everyone has a circle of competence. Now, if you ask me about heart surgery, I don't know nothing. So I'm not going to sit here and debate with a heart surgeon about of Googling and YouTube and watching 3 videos. I'm not going to go and haggle a heart surgeon and say, "No, you don't know what you're doing." Mate.
What if we ask you what you know about gin?
I'm learning a little bit. I am actually. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think the problem with people is, and this is, again, the art of deal making. I was speaking to my younger brother the other day, and I said to him, when I'm looking to buy anything, phone, watch, car, property, investment, shares, I look for reasons to buy stuff. I look for reasons. I make a list. You know how people I think 99% of people walk around with a list not to buy something. I walk around with a reason to buy something, even if it's silly, right? And I write down how's it going to make me feel purchasing this thing. It could be as superficial as, bro, if I drove this Lambo, it would be sick and I'll feel like this. And, my friends would think of me this way. Or if I bought this investment property, I would be an investor, whatever it might be. I want the latest and greatest iPhone, and I will write there, so I'll finally start to do some photographs when I travel, whatever it might be. I look for reasons to buy, right? And the only reason I don't make a purchase is at that point, if that purchase is not going to actually serve me in terms of if I was in between buying a AMG GTS versus putting down a deposit on a development or a property, even if I had the 200,000 cash, I'm not going to buy an AMG GTS. I will go put it in the property. I will delay my gratification.
Finance, then we'll just 100% finance the AMG GTS and still get them both, baby.
But I reckon, the problem, I think where the deal making is going wrong is when you have an attitude saying, I want none of the risk, I want all of the reward.
Yep.
But I don't want to change my lifestyle. And I also want this, and I also want that. So I'm like, you got to come up with a VR headset, and you just got to go in that world, play GTA 5 if you want to, and do whatever the hell you want. This is real life, buddy. Right? There's a price to be paid. Either you're willing to pay it or not. You don't get to the top 1% by dilly-dallying, wasting other people's time. And I'll tell you what, it's not even when wasting our time. They're wasting their time. They're literally sitting and wasting their time. And I can't tell you the amount of times I've come across people that have just... How many times have you guys heard? Sean, I will wait when the market crashes.
Countless times, and all of them still don't have any property.
And how many times have we experienced? Even the GFC wasn't a crash. Bro, this is not the United. We're only 25 million people. Scott Morrison just lost $440 million on a submarine. He could have given every citizen $2 million cash and we'd be okay. So
wow.
So what people don't, mate, we're 25 million people. Relax. Stop watching The Big Short and having these debates. Oh, what is the up? They're not going to do shit. They're not going to do anything. You got to understand, every time, if Marc, Sean, and I retire off real estate, we are not the government's problem. Every property we buy allows someone to live at a lower price so they can afford to live in a good suburb where they have rents. The government doesn't have to worry about it. More rental properties, more immigrant friendly. This country needs to grow in population, my friends. Do you get what I mean? So if you're sitting here betting on $9 trillion industry wiping out to 40, 50%, or you think this is too risky, unless you're buying in the middle of nowhere, you will not get stuffed. Where the difference becomes is, do you want to have mediocre performance, or do you want to be the top 1%? Do you want to use the latest data? Do you want to enter the market at the correct time, do your equity locks, refinance, build a portfolio? If you want to buy one property, you don't even need us.
Yeah. And if you want to achieve all the above, sign here right now.
No, but I'm just saying, like, people make such a big deal out of it. They make such a big deal out of it. They really do. I'm like, the other day I sat with someone who goes, you know, I was really wondering, you know, there's this really cool offer to buy a $350,000 unit in Canberra. I'm like, do you realize people are driving around in $500,000 cars, man? Like, what are you talking about? Like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? And people's version of what $1 million used to be, it's nothing. It is literally nothing. If today, Sean, you rang me up and you said to me, I'll give you $10 million at 7%, I'll take it any single day. Because I know I have the intelligence, the capacity to make that $10 million into 25, 35, 45, 55% upside. And then I see people go, I think I wouldn't do this because, you know, St. John just said instead of 1.89, I'll have to do 2.32. So I don't know if I can afford this McDonald's meal a week. I'm like, you, like, mate, I reckon go back to the corner you came from. And all I tell myself is, great, I've got another tenant coming. I've got another experienced employee that I could hire for $70,000 because no one else will. That'll come and work for me forever. That is great.
And I love the question you asked earlier as well. I love the questions you asked earlier as well. Like, you know, the funniest question I get on probably a bi-weekly basis is, or well, pretty much I get this almost every day. Hey, so Sean, which markets, which are the top, 2-3 markets you think that are, going to grow and sort of outperform everything else?
Woolworths, Coles, and Aldi.
And every time I get asked this question, my response is just, if I knew the answer to that question, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. I'd be out there buying it myself.
Or we'd be in the Cayman Islands.
Or we'd be in the Cayman Islands. Amen.
Look,
the 911 Turbo S.
I agree. Look, I think a lot of people get scammed into the idea, and I think the idea of investing for people has become really complicated, and they've overcomplicated it. And I think as much as the Googles and the YouTube videos and content like this has been there to empower people, but you got to understand, McDonald's success was to have a limited menu, right? You got 2 things you can order in chicken, 3 things you can order in beef. I don't think you can order vegetarian. I don't know if I'm wrong. Please correct me if there's a true Macca's fan out there. And we as human beings, are very poor when it comes to multiple decisions, right? So why do a lot of people do well at school or university? Because you're put in a cupboard and you put in a channel and you just got to follow that channel. As soon as you've told, hey, you're free to do whatever you want, it just gets too complicated. And perfection and this and that and all of that is, I'll tell you what, I'll give you an example. All the properties I've purchased overseas in here, right? I've done the same due diligence, same analysis, same everything. Okay. Some properties were $50,000 to $100,000 under. Some properties, I can't even explain the growth. $500,000, $1 million above. Okay. And when people say this is risky, do you know what's risky? Having only one property. It's like going to the casino and putting all your money on 13. If you play roulette, you get a better return if you do a spread. Or you can hit it really big if you put it all on one number or on zero and get a big return. The zero version for me is an educated bet if you're a developer, right? You're happy to go with private lending, pay a higher interest rate, you've got cash flow, you've got the intelligence, you've got the resources. So say someone like a Lend-Lease, a Sekisui, Creation Home, or whatever it might be, you know, the big boys, Westfields, your Lend-Lease, whatever it might be, right? As an individual, and for most people, either you're a contractor, ABN, small business holder, PAYG, you've got two incomes, a one income in the house, a kid, a family, a mortgage. You got 50 to 100,000 in equity, another 40,000 in saving. You're saving $2,000 a month. Diversification is a luxury, brother. You got to pick. You got to pick. As simple as that. And you got to pick based on the local economy. So the Australian economy is a very real estate geared economy. It always has been. Real estate is year on year outperformed the share market. It's less volatile. And again, it comes down to the circle of competence. And I can tell you this, even if you went and bought the most dud property in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and again, when I'm not talking like 500 Ks away from these cities, like in a proper middle ring aspirational suburb, you would have done fine. You would have done way better than leaving money in the bank.
Yeah, as long as your time horizon was good.
And the art of deal making.
12 months. If some people 12 months, of course, yeah, some people that buy at a peak go, oh, I bought at a peak, great. But then what you're doing is, yeah, if it corrects, that's fine. But it was always part of the game plan that you weren't going to be there only for 12 months. So we've already debunked the myth that timing the market can't be done, right? So that just doesn't exist. Because if a market's on the way down, you think you're really going to have the courage to buy? No, you won't. You know who's going to have the courage to buy? The three of us amigos here.
Bro, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Okay, I bought on the peak of the market, and I knew the reason I bought for position. I knew the property is going to correct by $80,000 or $100,000, and I knew that I have to hold this property for 6-8 years for it to come back around. But I got a discount up front. But I bought for position. Right? You cannot replicate that sort of real estate ever again. Right? You cannot just do that ever again. I bought at the bottom of the market. Right at the bottom of the market, and I've seen stupid money come around. I bought at a point of a market when neither have I seen growth or rental growth. No capital growth, no rental growth, right? For a very long time. For even me being a very patient person in real estate, well, I tell people when you buy two properties, go get a hobby. Stop fidgeting. So if you haven't owned a property for 10 years, you're no one to judge it. Because the reality is in that market cycle, out of 10 years, for 8 years, property doesn't do anything. And if you're thinking I'm Warren Buffett and I'm Jimmy Buffett and I'm going to crack this market, I wish you all the best. I'll tell you what, I'll send you a really good card of a tarot card reader and a witch who can read you your future, and you can take a call on that. I wish you all the best. Mate, like you're a speculator then. The art of deal making is understand where the vibe is of the market, what's happening in the marketplace. I always buy for position over price. Position for me is everything. Having a lot that is located in the right place, in the right suburb, is going to have low building costs. If I can lock in a builder earlier on, is always been my preference. I've never gone and bought a unregistered block with no builder attached, because then your math can go really wrong in a market like this. Say my build today cost me $295 or $300 or $600 or $800 or $1 million. It might cost me $200 or $300,000 or $50,000 or $80,000 more that I might or might not have at the time. I don't know what's going to happen in 2 years, right? So always lock that in. And there's a process to put buffers in pace. I'm always prepared for variations. 5 to 6% variation is so normal. Like that is, mate, you could get valuation on your own existing property from 3 different lenders and they'll all have 3 different opinions.
Exactly. Right. They're all 3 going to be different anyway.
Yeah.
And you're right about your worst case, Kesh. You're really right about that because, think of it this way. I ask this question to most people I come across, which is, property's always done your 7 to 8% in capital cities. Now, worst case, for the next 10 years, what do you think it's going to perform? Mark, for example, what do you think, if it's always done 7 to 8%, worst case or conservatively, what do you personally think it'll perform for the next 10 or the next 20 on average?
25% per annum growth.
Okay, cool. Kesh, what do you reckon worst case?
So for me, I always work out my worst case, and I've got a science behind it at about 5% per annum. Usually inflation is 2 to 3% per annum. So I always go, I just want to be above inflation. So 2.5. So if Sean or Mark had to build the same property, bricks, concrete, labor is going to cost a little bit more. And what I need people to know, I'm going to digress here for a little bit, for 2 minutes. The idea of you got to be older to make money is disappearing in this generation here. I know more 20 and 30-year-olds that make 10x more money than a 50-year-old who's really experienced it. It's the dynamics are changing. And the reason I'm betting on this is if you ask a 6-year-old today what they want to be a TikToker or a YouTuber. No one wants to be an astronaut or a pilot or an engineer or a doctor because they've seen their parents slave away and it sucks. People love freedom and freedom to create. Like we enjoy this. We actually do. Like this is a release for us to be able to share information freely with our friends, family, fans, clients, whoever it might be. And for us to be able to hang out together and nothing restricted. We speak from the heart on this platform here, right? The next 10 years is going to be very, very different. So if you're still looking for white picket fences, 800-meter square blocks, all of this sort of stuff, mum and dad, pay a mortgage in 30 years, mate, you're playing the wrong game. You literally, I remember growing up where my friends were told, if you played video games, you'd be an idiot. And today I know people who make $5 million a year playing video games. Yet, these idiots will spend 15, 20 years. I'm one of those idiots at university, get a master's degree, do all of this, and none of these guys will guarantee you a job. And if the formula to success was to spend 25 years in a formal education that doesn't teach you any of this, nothing. I did a master's of finance and they didn't teach me this stuff. I don't have $1 billion, mate. I'm not going mergers, acquisition. That is not me. That is just not me. Right? I'm shirt, sneaker, and jeans. That's who I am. I like to dictate my times. The most valuable thing to me is my time. Because that's one thing, no matter how much money I have, I can never buy back. Right? So I want freedom, and more people have realized that. And today you're getting rewarded for those sort of things. Today we have Apple Fitness Plus, which is really competing with your F45s or Anytime Fitnesses. You have streaming platforms like this that are taking off. YouTube is the new Foxtel. Foxtel was the new radio. Do you get what I mean? And even in real estate, you're going to start to see trends. If Sean said to me, I'll get you a cracking deal on a 1,000-meter square block, I don't want to maintain it, man. Are you crazy? I don't have time. I don't. Would I buy a 1,000-meter square block with a shitty house on it? 100% I would. If I could put another $1 million and do something with it. If you're someone who's just starting off, don't overcomplicate it. Understand the energy in the market, at what pace you're at. If you're entering the market right now in the next 6-12 months, before APRA and all the other monkeys jump in and the media comes in and your mindset disappears, that's the problem. It's not the property disappears, not the deals. Your mindset disappears. Always remember, Marc and Sean, we need tenants and we need experienced employees in the future. And there has to be a section of society who will fall in that category, and that's fine. And if there are 100 people in the class, only the top 10 can be in that first 10 ranking, right? Not 99 can't be. And the only difference between the top 10 and the others is the top 10 were willing to do something that the others weren't.
Exactly. Simple as that.
They were in line with the market. They knew the sort of deal they had to make. And if I could go back today, I really was speaking to my nephew the other day, and he got into a really prestigious university, and I said, mate, if I could go back and do life again, I wouldn't go do my MBA in finance. I wouldn't have done my bachelor's of commerce accounting honors. I would have taken that $300,000, $350,000, gone to a very wealthy man, and said, I will pay you to come to work for the next 5 years, but let me shadow you. Let me learn your language. Let me see how you deal with the banks, with clients, with employees. Because I can guarantee in 5 years, you'll be in a position that your parents can't even fathom. And there'll always be that 1%, and they'll always be here. And the difference is going to be the deal of art making, and the deal of art making comes from their mindset. That's all it is. Either you have the right mindset or you don't.
Yeah, that's it.
On that note, let's do the rapid round.
Rapid round robin time. Where are we?
Love him. Love him.
Rapid
Fire him
round.
on. Do we still have producer Anna? Producer Anna, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me in the chat, because I really want to.
I think we've got to plug something. I think we've got to plug something real quick before
yes, I love my little plugs. I love, guys, right here in it's gonna pop up anytime soon, any minute now. Before I do the plug, this is an example. So this is a property in Castle Hill, right? Block selling at $6,500, only deposit $300. And today, a similar property, similar age, is selling for $2 million. And the reason I wanted to show you guys this is if I told this guy here 40 years ago that, mate, your property that you're buying for $6.5 million will be worth $2 million, because $2 million wouldn't mean that much, this person would have laughed in my face and called me a scammer. Because this poor lad didn't understand the fundamentals of the world of real estate, of how real estate is guaranteed to keep up with inflation in capital cities and cyclical markets. How real estate is the highest earning performing asset class in a country like Australia. And how real estate replaces the shortfall of manufacturing in this country. How real estate is a government problem, and how real estate, people who retire on real estate, helps the government get rid of the dole bludgers because they like people who are independent. So when you buy a real estate deal as an investor, you get rewarded for it. Scott Morrison goes, mate, here are your tax returns. Thank you very much. You're no more a cog in the economy. You're my business partner. So you decide whether you want to be an employee in the economy or you want to be a business partner. And if I show you what the prices are going to look like in only 22 years, it's going to blow your mind. So on that note, producer Anna, if people want to know more details, come on, let's do a plug. Let's stop sharing the screen.
More details on high growth asset selection. Hit us up with it, Anna.
Hit us up with it. I think we're having some tech. It's that 1 hour mark where everything starts to fall apart. For some reason, everything starts to disappear. Our information, but I reckon people just froze on this. They were just like, look at these numbers. Mate, how many, if I today, Sean, we could be buying stuff in Castle Hill. Look at that. This is a weekend special, 6 elevated Seward blocks at nearby estate price for below $6,500. $300 deposit. Look at that. Only $300.
Wow.
Mate, imagine this is what real estate's done, and people go, oh, I don't know, maybe a crash is coming.
I have to run my numbers on it, yeah?
Brother, you got to
hit the numbers like a marathon.
I need to digest the numbers. I need to digest them. These numbers are amazing, but let me digest them, and I need to play around a little bit with it, you know?
You know, the only thing you need to digest, is your mindset in that situation. Mate, if you sit on the fence, all you're going to get is splinters in your ass. This is real evidence right here. That's a 3 1-1 727 meter square block. 40 years is nothing. If you're 30 years old right now, you buy a piece of real estate and it goes from $6,500 to $2 million. I reckon, I don't know, if someone's a math genius, I didn't work this out. I'm pretty sure this is Bitcoin performance or better. This is to the moon, brother. This is to the moon performance. On that note, guys, producer Anna, are we ready to do a plug? Guys, whoever is keen, whoever's wanting to learn, whoever wants to know more and wants to know a step-by-step process on being able to do the masterclass, to understand a step-by-step process of how this world works, where Marc and Sean and Kesh can come here and talk about it so positively, you can watch this on demand. High growth asset selection masterclass. Sean does it himself.
Excellent.
That is really good. Sean, you know what? We gotta maybe make you do one of them live, like interactive. We'll do them once. We'll do a whole Friday night live where you just do the Friday night masterclass. Marc and I can be your students.
That'll be excellent, because I would love some really annoying questions during the process as well. And speaking of annoying questions, guys, yeah, everyone's going to crunch their own numbers, and I encourage you to do so. So definitely check out our high growth asset selection masterclass. It actually is perfect for the topic today, Kesh, which is the art of deal making. And just to quickly wrap up with some rapid round robins, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, just so that you can get a nice inside scoop of how we think and how we feel, so that you can get a bit closer to your top team of strategists in the country. Gentlemen, Mr. Marc Vettori, Mr. Kesh, the Cashman, what are your top 2 favorite movies of all time? Let's go.
Oh, it's really hard. It's really
hard. We're only going to limit it to 2. Don't list 10 and say you wish they were all the 2. This is the challenge. Only 2, baby. Let's go.
I think me and Kesh are going to have one of the same. I'm gonna answer that for both of us. Personally, I hope I'm right here. The Wolf of Wall Street.
Wow!
You know what? People misunderstood that movie. That movie wasn't about debauchery or womanizing or being a scam. The movie was about determination.
Yes.
And I condemn people's behavior like that. I don't think you should give people false information. But man, that guy really pulled it off. Like, wow, that was resilience at a next level. I agree, Marc. That is one of my top favorite movies.
I've got another one. I don't know if Kesh agrees with me on this one, but for me, it's always been Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's really, really good.
I like that because it makes me think. Usually, I fall asleep when I watch movies, to be honest. But this one had me intrigued, going, am I in a dream? Am I in real life? What's going on? And it made me think about my own life a little bit. So.
The dreams after watching Inception are crazy, by the way.
Look, I'm going to do, so one's Wolf of Wall Street, for sure. The other one is Wall Street. That is from 1987. Wow. And I just want to add, I know it's only 2. The third one is a Hindi movie called Guru. Which was on Dhirubhai Ambani and his hustle. So that would be in Hindi version of a movie that I really like. But if I had to pick 2 really popular, take it home. If you want to watch a movie that's about mindset and success, you got to watch the 1987 Wall Street, Gordon Gekko. You know what it is. You know what it is. That's what a top player does, and performs that from a mindset perspective. And if you just want to have fun, like eat popcorn and watch a silly movie that is motivating, Wolf of Wall Street for sure. But bro, like in a Hindi movie sense, Guru, really, that movie for me that's fire.
I mean, I might be wrong, but assuming it could be the Indian version of the Wolf of Wall Street. Am I right?
Yeah, it's more of a humble road to the top.
Nice.
Humble and hard work.
And it's a true story about one of the richest, I think is the richest man in India today. Well, his kids are.
Nice.
Yeah, a very, very grinding road to the top. But
this was a really hard question because there'd be Godfather and there'd be so many other movies and like like Django Unchained. I don't know.
Oh my god!
I love Django Unchained. That's me all day.
Shout out.
We have so many good ones out there. For me, it's number one all time. I don't think I can replace it. It's
Space Jam.
No, it's got to be the good old Gladiator.
Oh yes.
Gladiator is my all-time favorite, and my second favorite movie of all time is something that just keeps you going, and it's a good motto to live by. Just go with it. I don't know if anyone's seen it here, but
yes,
I would highly recommend Just Go With It.
That's oh yes. Just go. Is that Adam Sandler where he loses it, like he's got dementia or something?
No, it's Adam Sandler where he's enjoying in Hawaii on the holiday, trying to pretend that he's got a fake family to win this person's heart over, and he realized that he loved the same woman the whole time. And they just party in Hawaii, and it's beautiful scenic locations.
Oh,
and
a little rom-com. Look at it. Oh, look, Sean. I love how there's a combination of Gladiator. Have you seen enough?
It's the other side of the world. So that tells you a little bit about me. I can be all over the place.
Mate, I love that. Those are really, really good choices. Now, on that note, I think everyone has seen enough. Tonight we covered the art of deal making. Guys, if you're watching this on repeat or you're watching it while it was not live, just type in repeat. If you're watching it live, say it was live. Give us a subscribe. Share it with your friends. It really supports us. Guys, as much as we love doing this, I want this to go out to more people that'll get value out of it. If there's a question that you want us to answer, you want us to be specific about a certain topic, about a certain city, whatever it might be, and you want to hear off our opinions, leave us a comment and we will try our best to cover those things. Right? There's only so much Kesh, Marc, and Sean can come up with. So help us out here. Give us a shout out, share us with your friends, support this. And whoever is watching it for the first time, welcome. And I really appreciate your support. And if you're a frequent viewer, welcome home. And I really, really thank you for pulling out time, listening to us. Hope this has been valuable. And if you've been watching it long enough, mate, give us a shout out. Ask us questions. We will literally shout you out. We will answer your question live on this platform. On that note, this is Friday Night Live. I've got the lovely Sean, lovely Marc. Your host, as always, Keshav.